Hi, I'm Jeanne Fiorini. Thanks for being here at the Tarot Tips. We're going to expand in this video on an idea that we worked with in the previous video where we did some storytelling with it using the cards. In today's exercise, we're going to build, if you want to say, your own mythology for the immediate future. Create your own story, let's say. Sometimes we feel like things are going pretty well, and maybe we want to expand on our story and keep it going in a positive way. Sometimes we might feel like we just need a brand new story. So whichever way it goes for you, you can use this format. Again, the ideas behind it, like in the previous video, were or are going to be creative. Let your imagination take you with the story. Let the story come to you. Don't overthink it. Also, if you can, record yourself as you go through these phases. Let's say this story has 7 different phases for you to be thinking about. Don't edit your thoughts. It's very important when we do any kind of creative work that we don't go, oh, that can't be right, or oh, that's silly, or whatever it is. The more you can just hear the first thing you hear, see the first thing you see, understand the first thought that comes into your head, the more vitality and the more authentic your story is going to be. The idea behind this is to reflect on what might come out of you in terms of what might be a beneficial way to create your future, your immediate, the path that's ahead of you, rather than letting things happen to you, which sometimes we have to do. But in this exercise, we're going to say, no, I'm going to create a mythology for myself. And we start, the first step is to create the central character. Create a mythical character. Describe them. You might give them a name. Where do they live? What are they doing? What's their temperament? How old are they? What do they look like? So step number 1 is to create your central, your main character. Out of your imagination, out of your experience, whatever pops into your head. Step number 1, create your character. For the example, I'm going to say I am a weaver in a medieval English town. My mother was a weaver, my grandmother was a weaver, everybody's a weaver. And I work in my loom and I'm fairly content. I like to work with the fabrics, I like the colors, I like to create interesting patterns with the threads that I have available to me. Just an example, you come up with whatever character resonates with you. Who do you want your mythical persona to be? Number 2, where does the story begin? So here we're going to start using our cards. So you just pick one card at random. Where does the story begin? I'm going to react to the image on the card. I haven't looked at it yet. You might have seen what it was, but I haven't seen it yet. Where does the story begin? 4 of Cups. Okay, so one day I was taking a break from my weaving. I was out having an apple under a tree, and I got wondering what else there might be besides weaving. I never had that thought before. Okay, just an example, but step 2, where does the story begin? Draw one card, react to the image. You don't have to describe the image. Somebody else might have looked at this card and saw something totally different. Okay? It's not about describing the card. It's more about how does the image feel to you and what does that bring to mind in terms of your character. All right. Number 3, what moves the action forward? In other words, what happens next? So I had this unusual thought or feeling that maybe there was something beyond weaving. The second card I'm going to pull, what moves the action forward? I'll pick this one, 8 of Swords. Well, I went back in to do my work, and I got my finger caught in the threads. And before I knew it, I was totally wrapped up in threads. And I had to call for my mother to help get me out of this mess that somehow I had woven myself into. Okay? It's just whatever came into my head. There's not a right answer. Okay, that was your second card, but your third step. The next thing that happens to your character is that your character meets an unexpected person or finds themselves in an unexpected place, or maybe has an experience that they didn't plan on. So I'm building on the story here. What might be an unexpected event? Page of Cups and the Sun card. My brand new baby sister came toddling in the room, and she had on a bright yellow dress, and she said, "Let me help unwind you from your predicament." She wouldn't use the word predicament. "From all those threads you have hanging all over you. You look silly. What game were you playing that you got yourself all wrapped up? Let me help you unravel yourself." Okay? All right. So give some thought to what happened there in the middle. What happened there when you thought that you weren't quite sure what was going on? Was there support? Was there more conflict? Was there something that added more confusion to the issue? Did somebody come and help you out? What happened there in that unexpected interaction with somebody else? What was the nature of that for you? Number 5, you are tired and you're confused. Maybe you're far from home. Maybe you're in a place that's unfamiliar. I can say, if I'm looking at this story so far, I've never in all my years of weaving seen anybody get so tied up with all those threads. I really don't know what to do with myself. So as I want to do, I'm going to find a safe, warm, snug place, and I'm going to have a nap. So wherever you are in your story, whether you're out in the woods, maybe you're in a house, wherever it is that you are, find a safe, warm place, snuggle in, and imagine yourself falling asleep into a long, deep sleep in which you have a dream. An important dream that's going to inform you about what's going on, what can help you, but what do you need to know at this point? Your dream life is going to speak to you. So you're going to take 2 or 3 cards. I think for the sake of expediency, I'm going to pick 2. I got, what does my dream have to say? I got the Judgment card and the Hangman card. I woke up suddenly from my dream. It was as if I heard the church bells ringing. I was so startled when I woke up, I really didn't know what to do. The Hangman card, that's a little tricky. As I'm kind of spur of the moment here, trying to see what does the Hangman card have to say to me. Okay. Such an interesting combination of a big card of action and a card of inaction. All you have to do is stand up and let those threads fall away from you. Don't struggle. You don't need your baby sister to help you, although it was nice of her to offer. All you have to do is stand up and let it happen, and you will become unbound. Okay, whatever your dream says to you, let it come to you, let the story come to you, let the images speak to you. That one took me a little moment to get a thought. The judgment part was easy. The hangman card was a little bit trickier. Give yourself as much time as you need to sit with the images, how they look, how they feel for you. Try not to think about what the cards mean exactly. So that dream was very helpful. Number 6, choose a card as a guiding spirit. If I'm thinking about how do I move forward after this sort of startling experience, maybe it's going to be an animal. I want you to pick one card as a actual guide for you. So it might be a person on the card. It might be an animal. It might be a color. It might be a force or an idea in the card. But the idea of this card is it's a guiding spirit that can help me move forward. Pay attention to the first image and the first thing you notice about the card that you pull. 8 of Cups. I got the thing I notice is the moon. But this is sort of an enigmatic sun-moon combination, you know, ambivalent sun-moon here. But that's the first thing I noticed in this card was the moon. So, and I'm in the story here. I'm noticing how it sort of feels like it's connected to the halo there on the Hangman card. So my guide is going to be the next full moon. I'm going to look to the moon to help guide in my getting released from all of these threads. And what do? I'm a little nervous now about going back to the loom. I'm afraid somehow I'm going to get myself all untangled again. But after the dream and the guiding card, see if you can have a sense of any confusion or any doubt that you might have lifting. See if you can notice a feeling of being refreshed, maybe a little bit more clarity as you think about, well, what do I do next? The dream has guided me. I do feel like I can rely on the moon, reflecting on the moon, thinking about paying attention to the moon's phases to guide me as I move forward. I'm going to now draw 2 cards to conclude this part of the story, and you could go on and on and on if you want to, but again, for the sake of time, I thought we would keep it somewhat simple and with 7 steps. So the last step is to pick 2 cards that will help guide you to move forward successfully as you begin to move now into the future with having had this experience. Knight of Wands, Ace of Swords. I'm going to say with my story that this Ace of Swords cuts me from the loom and the history of the loomers, the weavers. This Knight of Wands wants adventure, is very spirited, is playful. And even though I thought I was content, these cards say to me, more freedom, more adventure. Interesting that the sword can cut all those threads if I need them cut. But I'm also going to pay attention to the fact that the Hangman said all I had to do was just stand up and watch them fall away. So if I'm thinking about that story and what it might mean for me, there's a lot of richness in that. There's a lot of analogy, there's a lot of symbolism, and I'm going to really be paying attention to the truth of that. So this is a great way to think about, after it has already come up from inside of you, what am I newly aware of? What did this story tell me that maybe I was only partially aware of? How do I understand myself better after telling myself this story and making up this fairy tale mythology about what's ahead for me? Also maybe where I've been. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways you can play with it. I will make sure that all of the steps are written down. I hope you have fun with it. I hope it's enjoyable, and I'm quite sure that you will come up with some insights as a result. All right, thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.